welcome to our lesson for today. So we're gonna start this lesson by talking about what we did last time. So remember, last time we talked about how God gave Solomon wisdom.
So much wisdom,
and how he used this wisdom to judge the case of the two women that were fighting over one baby.
Child,
So remember, one woman said, "This child is mine." The other said, "This child is mine." So they were all fighting over the baby. And then Solomon came up with a great idea that he said, "Okay, then we'll just cut the baby in half and give one to one woman and the other to the other woman." So with that, he was able to find out who the real mother was, because she said, "No, don't hurt my baby. It's okay. I would rather you give it to her rather than you harming my baby." And then Solomon knew this is the real mother.
Yes, because the other woman said, "Yes, that's a fair deal.
Okay.
Cut the baby in two and give me one half and give the other one." So Solomon knew this one is not the mother and this one is the mother. So he judged that case and he gave the baby to the rightful mother.
Yes. So on top of God giving Solomon all of this wisdom, he also gave him a lot of riches.
Yes.
He gave him a lot of things, and he had so many things.
Yes, he was so wealthy. But remember, David had been king before Solomon. So David was Solomon's father. And David had tried so hard to push away the enemies of the Israelites.
All
so
the
he
Philistines
and
all the other enemies
of the Israelites. They were now far gone. So by now Israel had grown, because the king had conquered a lot of land and a lot of places for the Israelites. So the land of the Israelites was actually very big.
It was huge. There was all of this land. On top of Israel being so large, it was also very happy and very prosperous. By the time that Solomon was becoming king, everyone in Israel was so happy, and they were all doing well. They were all wealthy, all of them. So that was what was happening when it was time for Solomon to be king. But now that Solomon is king, he decided
a palace.
Yes, he decided, "I need a palace." So he started building his palace, and his palace was so huge and so beautiful,
and it's so big.
It took 13 years to build. Imagine 13 whole years, and they are building this palace.
Yes, so for 13 years. So for 13 years, Solomon had men working on his palace. So he had men cutting precious stones, cutting wood,
cedar wood, all of this stone and all of this wood. All of it is just to make this grand
make the grand palace. And really, the palace was grand
and so
very beautiful. So in the palace, there was this room that the king would meet all the visitors,
anyone
and all the guests, and anyone who came to see
they would all come and they would meet him in that room.
Now, in that room is where the throne of Solomon was.
Yes.
Now, in the room was 6 stairs, and then on the 6 stairs, each side of the stairs was a lion, carved lion.
Yes, so people had come and they had carved a lion. So at the bottom of the stairs, on the side of the stairs, was a lion on this side and a lion on this side. And then up the 6 steps was where King Solomon would sit.
Yes, that is where the throne of Solomon was.
Yes.
Now the throne of Solomon was very big, and it was made of ivory and covered with gold.
Yes, so an ivory throne, a big ivory throne covered with gold. And then even his footstool, because when the king would sit, he would rest his feet.
Yes.
Even his footstool was covered in gold.
Yes. So then now in that throne had armrests, and on each side, on the right and on the left, was a lion. Remember the 2 lions that were at the bottom of the stairs?
Yes.
So now on every side of the throne was another lion and another lion carved. And then at the back of the throne,
there was
because remember it's so big, so it's up to like here,
all the way above.
Up there on the back of the throne
was a bull's head.
A bull's head that had been carved on the seat or on the throne.
Can you imagine?
Yes.
No one had seen anything like this before.
That.
I mean, can you imagine? They carved a bull's head on the back of the throne.
Lions.
They put 2 carved lions on the side of his arms. The throne was made of gold, was made of ivory covered in gold. The footstool, gold. Then down 6 steps on each side are huge carved lions.
Yes.
all of them.
On each side.
On
and then
each side.
something else, in the palace there was a lot of food. A lot of food.
All the food, all different kinds of food.
Throughout.
Any food that you can imagine, a lot of food.
Anytime a guest came or a visitor came or the people in the palace wanted to eat, there was always food in the palace.
Yes.
And then something amazing, they only ate from golden plates and drank from golden
cups. Imagine everything was gold, the plates and the cups. And then
Everything.
another thing that
Yes.
Solomon had was that Solomon loved horses. So he built a
A very big
stable
stable
for
for-
all of his horses to
Yes.
stay there.
And then something else that
Another
Solomon
thing.
also had, another thing that he had a fleet of ships.
Yes, he had a fleet of these huge boats, and there were many
Many
of them, and they were so big.
Yes, a ship is usually very big and it sails in the ocean.
ocean.
So Solomon had so many of those that they would actually
Go to the king of Tyre.
go to the king of Tyre,
And every 3 years, they would come back to Israel and they would bring all of these new, different things that
That were not in
no one
Israel.
in Israel had ever seen them before.
So every time they went, after 3 years, they would come back with new things that were not in Israel. So they would come back with
Peacocks and
monkeys,
apes, monkeys.
Yes.
And these animals would stay in King Solomon's garden. So they would just look pretty and that's where they would stay.
So King Solomon would just put all these animals in his garden, and then when you stood and just looked at the palace, you would see
these beautiful
nice
animals that you've never seen before.
They were nowhere else in Israel because they were only brought to King Solomon's palace.
Yes. Also, the ships also brought back more gold,
yeah.
more silver, more ivory, and all of these things King Solomon used to decorate the palaces that he made for himself and
for
his
all
many wives.
Many wives.
Yes.
So King Solomon was really very rich. God had promised. Remember, King Solomon only asked for wisdom, but God said, "I will give you wisdom and I will give you wealth, and
all of these other
all
things.
of these other things I will give to you." And indeed, God made King Solomon very wise and very rich, because to have all these things, you must be very rich.
Yes. So, children, the same way that God blessed King Solomon,
Yes.
because Solomon trusted God and God blessed him with all of these
Yes.
things. So the same way he will bless us if we trust him. All we
Yes.
have to do is trust him
Trust
and believe
him.
in him,
Yes.
and he will bless us with so many things we won't even know what to do with
Yes,
them.
because when God says that He's going to bless you, then He's going to bless you. So that's our lesson. We're going to stand up and sing our song. So let's all stand up and sing the song.
It's time for us to sing our song. Now, we've just talked about how King Solomon was blessed by God with so many things. And when God blesses you with things and riches, you should be thankful for them. So now we're going to sing a song that will remind us to be thankful and grateful to God all the time. So everyone stand up and help us sing this song. I like to think about the goodness of the Lord. He gives me everything I need and so much more. So I just wanna lift my hands and say that I love him. I just wanna lift my heart in praise. And I wanna be thankful. I wanna be Okay, kids, so we've just talked about how Solomon built his amazing palace because God gave him all of these riches, and he had so many things. He had his grand palace, he had all this food and golden plates and golden cups, he had all of these horses, he had many ships, and these ships would go to a different land where the king of Tyre is, and then they would come back and they would bring different and new things. And one of these new different things that they brought back to Israel was a peacock. So Solomon had many peacocks. So for our craft today, we're going to make a peacock so that we remember that God gave Solomon all of these riches, and with these riches he had so many different new things. So we're going to make a peacock. So for our peacock, we have a normal ordinary paper. Make sure it's light paper, and we drew the head of the peacock.
The neck and the head.
The neck and the head of the peacock, and we cut that out. But as you can see, the rest of the paper, we left it rectangular because we're going to fold it so that it can become the tail of the peacock. And then we have our manila paper, and we're going to stick our peacock there. And then we have many smaller pieces of manila paper that we cut into sort of a diamond shape, and this we're going to use as they're going to represent the feathers on our peacock, because peacock feathers look very pretty.
Very pretty and
so
very detailed.
Yes, and very detailed. So what we need to do first is you take your paper and you color it. So peacock's feathers are blue and different types of greens, all the greens that you can find. So we're going to color this paper first, and you're going to color both sides of the paper. Okay, one side down, and I'm going to turn my paper over and do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now both sides of the paper have this beautiful blue-green color. And this is the color of the peacock's feathers, because this is where the feathers are. Now I want you to take your paper and I want you to fold, what are they called, Rachel? Constantina folds.
Yes, Constantina folds.
So we'll fold one side, then we'll turn the paper, fold the other side. Make sure they're all equal and even. Make them as even as you can.
Yeah. So once you get the first and the second fold, the others will come automatically.
Yes, the others become simple.
Yeah.
So fold all the way until you get to the bottom where we've drawn the head of our peacock. Yes, the neck and the head of our peacock. Yes. So once you get to the end, I want you to fold this paper in half. So that you see where your head, where the neck and the head is, where you've drawn the eye, that is the part where you'll be able, that's the part you're seeing, that's the front. And you folded the rest of it in half. Once you folded it in half, you can take glue or you can take a stapler, and the part that you folded,
the two ends that meet,
yes,
right? Yeah.
Stick them together, because we need the two ends to meet. We need them to stay stuck together. So put your glue and stick them together. Make sure they stick well together so that when you open it,
it's one piece.
It's one piece. So we have a peacock and we have our peacock's feathers. It looks beautiful.
So nice.
It's so pretty. But there's something missing on our peacock's feathers. Now, our peacock's feathers are normally blue, green, but for us to be able to see the feathers, we need to add our diamond-shaped tops.
Yeah.
So we just cut a diamond shape from a manila paper, and now we're going to color these pieces. We're going to color them yellow so they look golden.
Nice.
And this is going to be the part that we stick onto our peacock. Yeah. So color a part, then stick it. Okay, once you've colored a lot of them, we're going to take them and stick them onto our peacock. Just take your peacock, take one side, pick up the diamond shape and stick it on the peacock. Okay, and there we go. Now we have our beautiful peacock with all its beautiful feathers. So now I want you to take your peacock and to just place it on your first manila paper. Make sure you open all of the wings, then take your stapler and staple it to your paper, just so that you don't lose it. So you can keep your peacock safe. And you can see all the beautiful wings. Okay, then at the top, I want you to write, God blesses King Solomon with many riches, because that's what God did. God is the one who gave King Solomon all of this, and he was even able to get peacocks from a different place. So God blesses King Solomon with many riches. So this story that we've talked about today, about King Solomon building the palace and all of the riches that he has, is found in King Solomon chapters 4
First King.
Oh yes, it's found in First Kings. Sorry, it's found in First Kings chapter 4 all the way to chapter 10. So this is our craft for today. So we can always remember all of the riches that King Solomon was given by God.
God, yes. And when you see your peacock, you remember that King Solomon brought a lot of new things from
different places, and they all came to Israel.
To keep them in his palace because he was very rich. To have a peacock in your home, you have to be very rich. So God had blessed King Solomon, and he was very, very, very rich. So I hope your peacock looks as nice with the feathers and the nice colors. Make sure you make it bright and nice, and make sure you put the feathers, that the tiny diamond-like pieces you put at the end, because it completes the look for the peacock's tail. Okay, so that's our lesson today, and that's our craft today. Until next time, bye.